Yeah, so that's new. So that paper is new. That's from Coordinations. I did 2 new collections with Coordinations. One is called Classic, and Classic are all brights, but they're a craft core. So when I go and use this, let's say for example we went into, you know, something bright, like a bright teal or turquoise. Even if you don't sand a lot, you just scuff it, right? When I go and ink this paper, the nostalgic palette that we did was very vintage inspired. This has been printed multiple times to have intense color over the top. So now the contrast is going to look like paint. So that's what's cool about Classic. In addition to that, so I did this in 12 by 12, 6 by 6, and I've also introduced card packs. So what we have in the new collection is called Metallic. Surprise, metallics are hot, wow. But Metallic Craft is different, right? So this again is still a craft core, but it's got metallic. So we've got copper, silver, and gold. And unlike regular foiled cardstocks, this is pliable. So just if I take this gold and watch just for me wrinkling it because it's just paper, it will actually go through the ink and give us just a very cool texture of ink. So even if you're like crumpling it up, because remember, this is not a laminated paper, this is a printed paper. So if I want to tear it, I can tear it. If I want to cut it, I can cut it. If I want to use a paper punch, so if I want to use one of the new Sizzix punches and I want to punch through this, I can punch through this. It's really, really cool. So if I'm doing any type of embossing or sanding, maybe reach right down here and grab these. Take a look at these. I know, it's insane.
Metal.
Oh, love those. Oh my god.
It's paper. Yeah, that's the thing. So when you see it, you're like, whoa, wait a minute.
What woman doesn't like gold?
It's paper. You can sand it, you can ink it like we've done here. So sanding that and adding some ink on it, you can get that vintage feel.
It'll take distressing.
It will take distress
What
ink.
about alcohol?
It will take alcohol ink as well. It will take anything you want. Because the beauty of this, like on the card, craft. So if you're using it, yeah, that's what's really cool about it. Is I love the fact that, you know, I've seen a lot of metallic cards, like we've seen foiled, but I wanted a printed metallic. That's what I really wanted. I wanted something that if I wanted to play with it and wrinkle it and distress it, I'm going to get a really unique foiled background that you can't get with kind of a mylar type of paper, you know, because it's got that film on it, so it doesn't let you rip it, it doesn't really let you punch through it easy. You always have to cut it, but yeah, very flexible. And even if you die cut it, it's that simple. Or like this is the other new duo. So this one is same thing. This is the feather duo. So this has a steel rule die with a coordinating embossing folder, a texture fade. Yeah, it's pretty great. It is.
Everybody's saying on here they're going to be homeless.
Listen, we love new surfaces, but I want surfaces that will have just, you know, kind of great application. That to me is, I think, the most important thing of innovation is to have things that we can use with things we already have. You know, you may want to use your alcohol ink, or you may want to use your embossing folders, or any of that stuff, and depending on your style, you may love the glitz and glam of metallic. Kind of leave it as is, you know. EL would just be like, I want to leave it shiny, shinier the better, you know, glittery the better. For me, I'm like, I don't mind that, but I'm going to add just a little bit of distress over it to kind of tone that down. It's really good, yeah. It's all occasions, yeah, it's a good pair of jeans. It's a good way to describe that. It is, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and if you feel that, I mean, if you haven't felt the paper, you really should feel it. It's just a different.
It does seem really cool. It feels thinner than it looks.
Because it's still craft paper.
Have you tried like the full crunch up?
Go
cut
for
it
it.
down and
Choose a color and crunch away.
I'll try it.
There you go.
Have you sanded it anywhere, Sam?
Absolutely, yeah. I'll even sand the feather. I mean, you can still sand it. It is a sandable paper because it's still coordinations, right? So you're going to be able to sand off that metallic finish, and we can still go in with our distress and distress it. Kind of weird not having a craft sheet, but you know what? I can make it work. So you can decide if you want to scratch it or sand it or scuff it.
Yep.
Because you can still get that. But the metallic, like I said, is going to resist the same way on coordination. So even if you inked heavily over it, because maybe you wanted these to all be black, you could still go in and wipe this if you use distress, and you're not going to affect the metallic at all. Yeah.
Love.
You just love it.
Okay.
It's like one of, yeah, look at her go.
It's insane.
You know what it reminds me? It reminds me of like gum wrapper.
Kiss wrapper.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like gum wrapper where it's like a weird, funky,
It looks a lot
metallic.
thicker than it
Well,
is.
once you start working with it, it
Wrigley's
feels like
gum
a
wrappers.
fabric almost too. It keeps,
But that's what I loved about craft paper versus cardstock. You know, craft has always been a super, like think of a grocery bag, you know? That brown paper bag, when you start working with it, it just becomes so pliable, and that's different than just regular white cardstock, because we could have done this, we could have done any of this, but this was the whole inspiration with collaborating with Coordinations was that, okay, yeah, I've seen printed cardstocks and colored cardstocks and foiled cardstocks, but not in craft, because it's not just the brown, which makes me super happy. Knowing that there's brown underneath just is happy on its own. Like I can look at these and be like, that's okay. I know what's inside. It's craft in there, so I feel good. But it's really just craft paper as a surface. Just what it does and how it works is so unique that I love it. I know. It's beautiful. Because even if you use some of the other dyes, like the vintage lace dye, that decorative strip, you're going to do this out of gold, and it's going to look like that Dresden paper, that German scrap that you use. Yeah. Wow. The ability to tear it, because even if you tear this and you ink that edge, because the craft is really wanting to absorb the color. Because like I said, the craft paper is incredibly porous, but our metallic's not affected. Isn't that great? Yeah. It's cool.
Fun.
See?
That
Who knew? Not only that, yes.